Picture this. You're sitting with your friends, other moms who have gone through a divorce or are contemplating, who maybe didn't picture their lives co-parenting, but are there with you. You're sharing your stories, you're inspiring each other, validating and challenging each other through your shared experiences. You're belly laughing, tearing up, and enjoying your favorite cup of coffee all at the same time. You don't judge each other, you empower each other to continue on your journey, to heal, and to just be you, whatever that looks like. Welcome to Co-Parenting and Coffee. Thank you for joining us. We are both co-parenting and are excited to have you as part of our journey.
Hello, yeah,
We're back.
we're back.
What to say. I'm really excited about our episode today.
I am too.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we're
we
always we're
do
always
one.
excited.
I know, that's our theme. We're just so excited.
Co-parenting and coffee and always excited.
Yes.
Um, what's going on, Jill? How are you?
Things are going. They're good. I mean, I feel like school, I was talking about this with another mom this morning, is like school's been in like a month now where we are,
Yeah.
and it feels like it's been a year. Like it is just rolling. And we're getting ready for our birthday. So are you actually. We're getting ready for a birthday,
We
so I'm
are.
very excited. This
We
age is
are.
so
We're
excited.
about to have two 9-year-olds. What are we gonna do?
Eh.
Yeah. Yeah, October is kind of a crazy month in general. Like it feels like we're almost a month in, but I feel like something, January is the longest, year of your life, and then
Mhm.
September comes and it's like the month it's over already. Like it
I know.
started 10 seconds ago.
I know. Yeah,
And I feel
September
like it
is
just
like,
goes
oh,
faster and faster as the year, as the months pass through the year. And,
it's so true.
I think for both of us, October is about our baby's birthdays.
Yes, for
And then
sure.
Halloween, of course. I love Halloween. But
Halloween is so fun. I love Halloween too. Um,
do you guys do, I want to ask a quick question and then we'll
yeah.
get to the quote. Do you guys do anything special on Halloween? Have we talked about this before?
So my sister has like the best trick-or-treating neighborhood. Like the
Hmm.
houses are like closer together and it's very flat and like a great like bunch of roads so you can like go as far as you want and then if the kids get tired you can go back to my sister's house then you can go out again if you want or whatever. So we always go there.
Pandemonium.
What we've been doing the past couple years, co-parenting wise, because Fiona dad has a younger one now, is I will drop her off at his house like early, and she'll
Yeah.
like get ready there, and like maybe trick or treat at like their neighbor's house, and then I pick her up and we go trick or treating with my sister
Cute.
and
So
a
she
bunch.
does it a little with her little brother.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. So
Um,
that
Interesting.
works.
So we haven't done anything particularly like special co-parenting related for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
In the last few years, the girls have been with me.
Mm-hmm.
So this year is the first year they'll be with their dad, and
Oh, how are you feeling
uh,
about that?
it's mixed
Yeah.
because I really enjoyed being out with them for
Mhm.
Halloween, but also I'm kind of loving the fact that I can hang out at home or like if I want to go to a friend's house
Right.
and like spend Halloween there, I could do that. So I
Right.
don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. But um, you
I
know,
think whatever works. Like, I mean, I think like the first couple years we trick or treated. I mean, she was very little, so we
yeah,
would just trick or treat at like five houses together, and that would be that.
right in your neighborhood. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So, I mean, I think whatever works, and I mean, a lot of people I think do have court order. I mean, people that have more high conflict situations have maybe more strict guidelines in their
Yeah,
plan.
I think for holidays like Halloween,
Yeah.
where it's not as big of a to do for us. We didn't stipulate like mainly stipulated like Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Yeah.
and like Mother's Day and Father's Day. But
Right.
I'm delighted that the candy won't be coming here. So there's that.
Seriously.
Anyway.
Although it is fun to sort the candy. Like that's the fun part. I always love doing that. Get to sort it, put it, like the different ones you like, eat a ton of candy, feel disgusting, all the fun
Yeah.
Halloween stuff.
You gotta just like I have to be mindful of how many times I do that. So
Yeah.
it'll be good. It'll
Well, I
be
was
good.
talking about the kids sorting the candy, not us.
I also live in a part of the neighborhood that's not the Halloween hub. Like we
Uh-huh.
walk over. It's like a 10-minute walk over to the street where everyone goes. But
Uh-huh.
I would still put out candy. And a couple years ago I got a Ring camera, and so last year I took a peek to see like who came.
Yeah.
And we probably had like four trick-or-treaters, including a group of like middle school age boys who basically
Took the rest.
oh yeah, they like picked up the bowl and dumped it in their bag. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be mad, but I was like actually like, well, thank you
Right. Thank you. Now
for
I don't have it in my house. I appreciate that.
oh my God. Anyway, well, I'm excited to talk to our guest today. We're gonna have a really good talk about finances.
Yeah,
And
and you know what I loved about this interview? So I hope people listen to it and feel the same way. I was worried before because well, money's such a, hard topic,
yeah,
and I didn't want to have a conversation where people felt like, okay, I don't even this doesn't relate to me in any way, but I feel like
right.
from it, I feel like she gives some good practical advice and,
Yes.
so I thought it was great. I'm excited to share it.
Sorry, I needed a napkin because I spilled my coffee. Um, a little bit, just a little bit.
Well, at least it's not on your computer.
It's not on my computer.
But
Amen.
I mean, it's sort of our brand, like spilling coffee.
It is sort of our brand, and that's why we put coffee in our name, right? Oh my God. So should we talk about today's quote? Because
Yes,
it's,
I love today's quote.
where did you find this? Do you know?
I don't even know.
Um,
No idea.
I'm seeing, was it on Instagram? Iris Rose
Probably.
Poetry. I just want to make sure we credit whoever
Yeah.
wrote it, but um, it's it shook me, and I think it shook you. So I'm gonna share it.
Share it.
They say nobody's coming to save you, but many people have saved me, even if they didn't intend to. It can be as small as a smile from a stranger, a nudge from an animal, words from a writer, the lyrics to a song, an observant friend. We are all saving each other every single day in tiny, seemingly insignificant ways. Yeah, I feel that. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well, I
Um,
think for me, it feels like a perspective, right? Like you think like no one's gonna save me. I'm all on my own. But then you can think about like all of these little pieces of things that are supporting you or saving you
yeah.
or however you wanna, you know.
I remember feeling like the darkest days of my split, and like
Mhm.
I cannot remember what song it is, like, but
Mhm.
I put some song came on. I was
Mhm.
getting ready to go to someone's birthday party, and all of a sudden I had this feeling like this, like, ooh, I was like, oh my God, that's what joy feels like I remember
Feeling
having
that.
felt so horrible
Yeah.
that noting joy was an event.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you're like, oh my God, I didn't think about it for a little while. Like
Right,
it's so
right,
like yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was like just the beginning. And now for me, it's uh, rarely do I feel that darkness, and
Yeah.
and more I feel the joy, which is a relief.
That's
But
cool,
also
right?
I appreciate that, and I think I have the perspective now in sort of acknowledging it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, Jill.
Mm-hmm.
So it said something about a song, and of course, I'm like a music dork, but
Mm-hmm.
um, was there a particular artist or album or song that really helped you through when you were going through?
Oh God. I have to like go look at my playlist right now.
All right, well, I'll share mine while you're
Yeah,
doing it.
share yours because I
So
definitely do. But
so I for those of you who may not remember or heard, I split up with my ex during the pandemic. Like I'm talking like things fell apart in March of 2020. We lived under the same roof for a
oh,
few months, which was not
brutal.
ideal.
Yeah.
Not ideal. And
Mm.
then when June rolled around and things were opening up a little more, he found a place and moved out. And so I was sort of exploring like living by myself for the first time in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have my kids, but
Yeah,
like,
not even by yourself with two children. Yeah.
yeah. And I discovered Brandy Carlisle. I don't know what rock I was living under. I was probably living under the rock of my marriage. Um, and she had come out with this album, and I want to say like 2018, called "By the Way I Forgive You," and it just hit.
Oh, now
And
I need to listen to this.
yeah, I'm a huge fan of hers now. Like massive. But oh God, yeah. The opening song of the album was like "By the Way I Forgive You," like all about having broken up with someone, and it hits different now than it did then, even. But oh yes, Brandy Carlisle, love that woman.
So, like, was it a positive song that made you feel like uplifted, or was it like a sad, good?
It was a little sad
Hmm.
and a little um like I've moved past the relationship, and now I'm reflecting it and on you, and no, it's too bad, but I forgive you. And I don't know that I was in the place of forgiveness,
Right.
but
But you were hoping you would
um
get there, right? I mean, that's always kind of the hope,
I'm
right?
still working on it.
Yeah, same. Okay, I found the song that I listen to a lot.
Okay.
It's like a depressing song though. Depressing, but also like good. It's Pink, which is random because I'm not like a not that I'm not a Pink fan, but I'm not like avid
Yeah.
listener. Um, it's called The Great Escape.
Ooh, I don't think I
It's
know that song.
yeah, it's not. I don't think it's like a popular song at all. I'm gonna send it to you because it's like when you're like in the depths of despair and stuff, and it's like you're not like you will survive. Like
Mhm.
basically in that way. But it's like a sad. It's sad. It's powerful. Sad.
Yeah.
I would say that was one of the songs I listened to on repeat and sang really loud and poorly.
Yeah, I think there's a catharsis to doing that, and I
Mhm.
encourage anyone who's going through this.
Yeah, and share songs that you like. Share on our
Oh,
Instagram or
please.
anywhere. We would love to hear. We should make a
I might
playlist.
need to start. That's
Definitely.
what I was just gonna say.
Ah,
Get out of my brain.
yeah.
Yes, I love that idea. Okay. We'll have to get on that this weekend.
Yes.
Um, so should we introduce everyone to Carrie?
Yes.
All right. We'll move over there. Keep listening.
Here comes Carrie.
Here comes Carrie. All right. All right. Wow. We are so excited to introduce you to Carrie Sullivan Christ. Carrie is president of Sullivan Christ Financial. She has earned numerous credentials and designations, including certified financial planner practitioner, accredited investment fiduciary, and certified divorced financial analyst. She founded the company in 2004 to provide superior wealth management and investment advisory services to corporate executives, physicians, business owners, retirees, and other affluent and emerging affluent individuals. As a certified divorce financial analyst, Carrie provides the client and attorney with data analysis that shows the financial effect of any given settlement to help them understand how financial decisions they make today will impact their financial future. Carrie is an accomplished speaker, having presented numerous educational seminars related to wealth management and financial planning. Welcome, Carrie.
Yeah, we
Carrie, we're
are
so happy to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
You
we're
know,
so excited.
this is another topic we've really been wanting to cover for a long time because we know personally, really, how divorce can have such a substantial impact on your financial future as a single parent. And certainly, I think we both understand the benefits of being out of a marriage that might not be optimal or very far from it, but also the ramifications of having to fund a household on your own, including children. So, we're really delighted to have you here. And I think my first question really is, honestly, I'm working on rebuilding my own life. My divorce was finalized about a year and a half ago. So I'm curious personally, what advice do you have for people who are post separation or divorce for getting themselves on their feet and well positioned for thriving future?
I think the most important thing after coming through or just working your way through that sort of experience is to really, take a deep breath and figure out where you are, and where you want to go, and what your goals are for the next chapter, and how does that work itself in with what your responsibilities are as a mom, and how are you going to balance, between all of the different responsibilities that you have, both as, perhaps looking at finances for the first time on your own, or maybe it's been a while since you've been on your own after transitioning from a marriage. So I think the most important thing is to really look and say, okay, I've got to take stock. I've got to figure out, okay, we've come through this, in the case of post-divorce, where am I? Where does all this leave me? What do I have for assets? What do I have coming in from an income standpoint, whether it's your own earnings, whether it's a combination of earnings plus child support, or some sort of alimony? Is it a temporary? Is it a years-long type of a thing? And really putting together a picture of, okay, these are my resources. What are my objectives? And how do I square that? So and I think the biggest thing is not to hide from it. And that's hard, right? I mean,
So hard.
You're like in the throes of, oh my God, it's like, okay, so if you're working and you've got kids and now you've added in an extra layer of like, oh my gosh, when they're with me, it's only me, and I've got to make sure that not only am I taking care of what I've got to do, but I'm dealing with, scheduling carpools, and I'm making lunches, and oh, by the way, now it's just me making sure all that homework gets done, and dealing with, communications with the teachers and that sort of, if you've got younger kids who are still in school.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, right?
Right.
If we're past that age, then it's like, okay, like, what am I going to do with myself, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
it's a challenge. It's a huge change, right? You're going through a divorce, so there's challenges and different. But I think with school-aged kids and just the crazy schedules and the back and forth from events and all that stuff, and then adding on any type of change in your parenting is just hard. So I love that practical advice is like just open your eyes and look at everything. That's really the first step, and I need to write it down because I need to do that. I feel like I need to keep doing that. Like,
you do, right?
You
It's
can't
not
just do
one-time
it,
thing.
right?
Absolutely. And if it's not your strength, or if you've never had to do it before and are kind of at a loss of where to start, that's where having an advisor really can help.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, I love swimming in all this.
Right.
But most, that's not the majority of
Right.
people out there. And plus, lives are busy.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I think it's daunting, and I'm thinking about the scenario too that one of the people in my group also said to consider is in some of these scenarios there's been a lot of financial abuse. So it can be very traumatic to then, like, it's scary. It's scary, like, even if you haven't had financial abuse, right? So, and then add on that layer of all of your finances being under lock and key and you have no idea because you're not allowed to know for whatever reason. And then that's a whole nother level. So I think in that case, a financial advisor might be really helpful to kind of keep you on task and to help you really navigate where to start.
Yeah, and really the role of the advisor that I is as a coach or a mentor, teacher.
Yeah.
It's that person that's going to be with you to kind of assess something, you've gone through, in a lot of cases, a trauma or a change.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, for a lot of people, it's your identity has changed,
Yes.
from
Sure.
here's me as wife and mother, and here's me as single mom,
Right.
And again, it's not only the financial, where am I, but it's also the who am I
Right.
Right.
and where do I want to go? So I think, one of the things that we as women need to do is kind of cut ourselves a little bit of slack
Mm-hmm.
and allow ourselves to go through the process of understanding, like, okay, this is going to take time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This didn't happen overnight,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be a process.
Yeah.
And to give yourselves the grace of, this is going to be a process and it's going to be an evolution. And I've worked with so many women who literally will come in, whether it's during a divorce or it's right after they have gone through a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes pretty traumatic, like you said, financial / emotional abuse
Yeah.
type of situations, where it's just helping them get grounded,
Mm-hmm.
helping them work through those financial statements. You go through, you do the financial statements. It's like, okay, now what is my operating budget? If it's
Right.
during the course, it's helping make sure those financial statements really are representative of what your situation is and what your
Yeah.
needs are, and because that's what you're going to use, right, to come up with the agreements. Post, it's okay, really taking a look and saying, okay, what have I got to work with here?
How do you help?
And learning.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry, I
I'm
keep
sorry, go ahead.
interrupting.
Go
How
ahead.
do you like? I can envision, and I think I've experienced this before too. Like, the feeling of like shame. I think that money, especially, can bring up a lot of shame for people. So if a client comes in and they feel sort of ashamed that either they weren't involved or that they don't have as much money as their friends on Facebook, right? Of course, nobody has as much money as their friends on Facebook.
Right.
How do you?
Or as much fun,
Right.
or as great of kids,
Mhm.
or
Exactly. How do you help them navigate that? I mean, I know that you're doing the financial advising, but I mean, it's just not so black and white. It's not like, you're a tax accountant where you're like, okay, here's your
exactly.
W-2, I'm putting it in and calculating it out for you. How do you
Yeah,
help them navigate that?
yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, the most important work we do. I mean, yes, math is math,
Yeah,
right? Numbers are
it is.
numbers, but there's so much more that goes into being a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's about the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It is about helping to empower women. It's my goal when I'm working with somebody is to provide a safe space to deal with these issues.
Mm-hmm.
There is no, there's no stupid question. I mean,
Right.
and you hear people say that all the time, but the reality is that you need to understand what your finances are
Mm-hmm.
and how money's a tool. So we
Right.
just need to understand the tool. But
Right.
there's a lot of layers sometimes that need to be worked through on a personal level, on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And there's always a box of, we have tissues and we have candy
Okay.
in the, because you never know. You might need
Yeah, you
both.
need a
Yeah.
little bit of both.
But money is a very emotional sort of a topic.
Absolutely.
And it's really looking at a person's situation and understanding, we'll meet you wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there to be your advocate and to provide a space where you can both understand where you are, but also understand who you are now and
Right.
help with that.
Right.
And just to listen. A lot of what we do is listening,
Mm-hmm.
to help make sure that we're really putting together, understanding the world through the client's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is the better the job that I do, seeing and understanding the values that are being brought in, the experiences that are being brought in, the goals, how decisions have been made, how they were raised. Honestly, what sort of
Sure.
messages did you get from your parents? All of that kind of ties into who is this person?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they want to be? And you'd be amazed at the transitions that I see from women who are just coming through the divorce,
Yep.
or in the midst, then through,
Yep.
and how over time, just by being in it, having a partner or coach that they can work with on a very regular basis to be able to say, okay, look, this is how we do it.
Right.
And this is new. And we're going to hold your hand literally and be with you every step of the way.
Right.
And you'll understand. And so you can understand. Because the bottom line is that something could look perfect in black and white. But if it's not comfortable or it's not understood, it's not going to work.
Right.
It's kind of like, if I was putting somebody on if you ever been on a diet, right? And you can
Never.
basically do anything for 2 weeks or a month,
Right.
right?
Yep.
But then if it's just not who you are,
Right.
if it's totally misaligned with your life, you're going to go right back to doing what you did before, maybe even worse, and you could do more harm than good.
Yeah.
So it's really about meeting the clients where they are, meeting these women where they are, and having that empathy
Yeah.
to see the world through their eyes, and then to translate all this stuff over here. Again, money just being the tool
Right.
to make it make sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's also, being the one that has to do the reality checks too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's a lot of anger that comes with it. I get taken advantage of, or I deserve a certain lifestyle. I had a certain lifestyle, and I don't understand why I can't still have that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of going through that process to the, how did this happen
Yeah.
to me? How did I get here? I can't believe he's still trying to control me. The court orders, the divorce decree is not being followed. What do we do? So sometimes it's also circling back and helping loop back in their counsel when those things need to be addressed, and helping work through that as well. It's really about meeting the clients where they are.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, once you got that relationship and you're kind of in the groove and you come to the point where you're like, okay, this really happened to me.
Right.
Okay, light dawns on Marblehead, it's like, okay, this happened. And now I'm going to go forward.
Right.
And I'm going to now live my best life.
Right. And that's the best part, right? I mean, I think, although I'm not doing the financial advising piece of divorce or this stuff, that is one of my favorite parts, is getting to see women empowered and taking back their lives, and the financial piece is one of those pieces.
It's amazing, and it's amazing to see, a year later, 2 years later, women who really haven't necessarily been involved in the finances. They're coming to the table, and they've been at home with the kids. They put their own careers on the back burner.
Yep.
And kind of coming full circle to, okay, I actually have value.
Right.
And I have a career. I have something else to offer.
Yep.
And I am making really good decisions for myself and my family.
Right.
And that is just such an amazing transformation. It's an amazing thing to see.
Yes.
When they actually are like, I get it.
Right.
I get it. And for me to be able to say, when I think of where you were and where you are now, it's absolutely amazing. I never had to learn how to, even remotely think about your money before.
Right.
So sometimes it's as basic as, it's kind of like going into a high school and doing, finance 101.
Right.
Household finance 101. And again, everybody's different. Some people are more sophisticated, and some people come with more emotional stuff than not. But it's all about taking that breath and say, okay, where am I?
Right.
So that we can get you to wherever it is that you want to go.
Yes.
And understanding that you might say some places where you want to go right away. And maybe it's just like, let's get through the first year.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you get through the first year and it's like, okay, where do I want to go now?
Right.
So the important thing about planning, and the reason why it's so important to stick with it, is that life changes. I mean, gosh, if you learn anything through the process, that
seriously.
life can change and do a 180 on you in 2 seconds flat. So it's important that your plan can change too, and that you're consistently updating and monitoring, so that as you change and evolve, because you will, and you'll grow, and that your plan does too.
Yeah.
Carrie, so two-part question. I'm thinking about some of our listeners who are going to wonder, is having an advisor expensive? And also, how do you find someone? How do you, as you're thinking about, finding someone, how do you find someone you can trust?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. I think referrals from people that you trust
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that are in a similar situation are a great resource. That's first off, that have had really great experiences. You can go through the professional organizations. So you can look, if you go on to CFP.net,
Mm-hmm.
that's a certified financial planner website, or you could just do a Google search,
Yeah. We can link those in the
finding a
description.
CFP, finding a CDFA. There's a difference between a CDFA and a CFP. And I think it's important. Sometimes, like, I've got both designations. It's important to understand that somebody who's working with you in the role as a CDFA
Mm-hmm.
is really looking at helping you to make the best decisions as you're going through that divorce process.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the clearest way.
Yeah.
The CFP is really there to work with you, or if you're working in that role with a client, it's
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're stepping in and saying, okay, here's where we are now. And what does your cash flow look like? What do we have for assets? Establishing that baseline and then spending that time talking to you about where do you want to go? What are your
Right.
potential exposures too? I mean, it's also
Yeah.
about managing risks. It's
Mm-hmm.
helping to minimize taxes.
Mm-hmm.
It's making sure that you redo your estate planning documents and your beneficiary designations, and that if we're talking about kids' education, your own retirement, maybe having to purchase a new home, or how do I deal with car, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
That's where the planner comes in, because that it's the long-term relationship that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to want with a planner. So you can go through the professional organizations. I would suggest that you interview. 100% believe that you should have an advisor who is completely independent and a fiduciary. What
Mm-hmm.
that means is they don't have any proprietary ties to publicly traded corporations or things that maybe have ulterior agendas
Right.
that they're tight. You can't serve two masters.
Right.
Right.
So as an advisor, you've got to be able to put your client first, period,
Right.
end of, like, hard stop. It's
Yeah.
all about the client and doing what's right for them. So that's paramount.
Mm-hmm.
And having that fiduciary capability. So you want a CFP as your advisor. If you're going through a divorce, CFP, CDFA, all great. You want someone who's independent. You want someone who is fee-based to tie to your how expensive is this
Right.
sort of process. Different advisors have different fee schedules.
Right.
Some charge a flat fee, and some charge hourly, some charge a combination of,
Of both.
of,
Yeah.
you know, or can work with you. When we talk to a client, it's really, we assess the situation first,
Mm-hmm.
and look at the complexity and look at, talk about the scope and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I'm a little biased, but I think it's priceless, as they say. But it would be, certainly within the scope of reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
But you should expect that if you're going to engage with a financial planner, you're probably talking at the outset at least a couple $1,000s. Not
Yeah.
as much as your divorce attorney.
Right. Right. That's helpful. Something that I keep hearing from you, or that I've noticed, is I think people can do it with an advisor or without, is kind of taking the judgment out of the situation, right? Like when you're talking about making a relationship with your client, you're not judging them. You're just listening to them and hearing where they are, their past, their future, and all of that stuff, and not taking all of those judgments that maybe they're making on themselves, or their friend might make on them, or whatever.
Their mom.
Yeah, their mom. Yeah, always their mom, right? um, and that's really important. And I think even when people are just maybe not at the point where they can get a financial advisor yet, but even being able to, like the practical advice you gave of just looking at everything and trying to take the judgment out of it. Like, let's let's not judge. Let's just see where it is. And
Yeah, because I think you're right. You can get lost in you
yeah,
can get
like why
lost
did I
in
do that?
that.
Why did I let this happen? I mean, there's so many things,
You
especially in
can't go.
the
I
relationship.
always tell
Yeah,
people, look, you can't go backwards.
right.
All we can do
Forward.
is go forward,
Yep.
and we can learn from the past,
Right.
Mhm.
and from this point forward, it can be different. And
Yeah.
I think that that's an important message
Hmm.
because we all come to the table with different life experiences, right?
Right.
Yep.
For
For
sure.
better or for worse.
Right.
Nobody is perfect.
No.
Everybody's been. If you think that there's someone out there that looks perfect, I will tell you from doing this
Yeah.
for over 30 years,
Yeah.
everybody's got stuff.
Yeah.
You are not alone. You would be so hard pressed to throw something that I have not, or like it would be hard to shock me.
I
I
know.
guess
Now I want to have a whole nother episode of trying to shock you. submit, submit
No,
your stuff
so
and you try to shock Perry.
so you think you can shock her? We can do a competition or
Yeah.
something. I would run.
Maybe I'm a little shocked. I'm a little
That'd
shocked.
be kind of fun, actually. But no, I mean the reality is like check that all at the door.
Right.
It's counterproductive.
Right.
And I'll have times when I'll just I'll look at someone and be like, no, you're not allowed to go down that rabbit hole again.
Yeah.
Like no, you're better than that now. Like
Right.
no, been there. Been
Yeah.
there, done that. But yeah, because part of my job is, I am a coach at its essence or a manager, so
Yeah.
I have to kind of keep it real.
Well, and that's not
I can't let
you can
people
keep it real without being judgmental. I think there's there's a difference.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not judging. It's you told me you want to do this,
Right.
but yet you're
This.
behaving
This.
and
Right.
actually doing things over here. So
Yes.
So and it's very very funny because some people are just they'll come in and they'll like go, okay, the hands on the table, hands on the desk, and they'll go, okay.
Confession time.
It is, honest to God, they're like, okay, so I just have to tell you, I didn't exactly do everything we were supposed to do.
Right.
And this is what I did do. So, I feel better now. So what
Yeah.
do we need to do to fix this?
Yeah.
And it's very funny. I mean, it's,
Like I'm glad we got through
it's
this. Yeah.
fantastic because, if we can make it be a space where it's comfortable. Yes, money's hard for some people, and for some people, it's like the fight or flight. It's like so anxiety provoking.
Yeah.
But I think success for us is helping people so that they can actually make this not the least enjoyable thing, so that it's actually positive. I think the biggest compliment I had from one client, she said to me, she goes, she said, I actually really look forward to our meeting. She goes, I thought I was going to end up being friends with my financial advisor.
What a nice compliment.
I know.
Which is fabulous because that's where the fun it is.
Yeah.
It is for me.
Right.
As an advisor is the journey.
Right.
Is getting people and being there for those fun moments, those hard moments, being able to say, this is really hard,
Right.
but we've got your back, and you at least have the supports here, and then being there to celebrate all the victories too.
I know. That's
Of
nice.
which there will be a lot of.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just a matter of like, okay, I'm like seeing some of my darkest days maybe, just having gone through what I've gone through, but helping them see that yes, there's definitely lots still to go on.
Yeah. Definitely.
I have another practical question. There are some, big names in the sort of personal finance universe who talk about how much money you need to have saved. They say, I think, what is something like 6 months of expenses in the bank for emergencies. What's your take on that?
At a minimum, at least 3. And we're talking about expenses. It's not like my vacation money needs to be
Right.
my savings. You're really talking about your core. You're talking about your mortgage payment. You're talking about your real estate taxes, your utilities, your car payment, your food. All of those must have. It's not the Oh, well, I typically like to go to TJ Maxx on the weekend and spend $150 just because it's recreation for me.
Right.
Right.
Which I love to do, by the way.
Yes.
That's why I pulled that one right out of my head.
Personal experience.
Favorite sport, but it's those necessities. I think it depends on your comfort level.
Yeah.
So your risk tolerance.
Right.
So for some people, like 3 months worth of expenses is just way too low.
Yeah.
If you're starting with nothing, 3 months worth is a huge lofty goal.
Yeah.
So you never want to set the bar so high and make it something so unattainable that
Right.
it's overwhelming and you just give up.
Yeah.
So ideally, 3 to 6 would be the ideal. I've got clients who are self-employed or they are in an industry where turnover is a little higher. Whether maybe it's technology or something, depending on where the market's at. And their comfort level is a little bit higher because they've been through a layoff and know what it's like in their industry to go find another position. So it's very unique to the client, and that's part of what we talk about, when we go through and really spend that time with them up front in the planning process, is to get like what is important. But again, if you're just starting out and are rebuilding,
Yeah.
let's set attainable.
Yeah, I love
And
that. I mean, thank you for not just giving a number, because that is so. I mean, I think when you say a big number, feels so unattainable that you're like, well, then oh well, I'm going to TJ Maxx then.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
right.
What about, did we talk about college? Because
College is a big topic.
yeah, and obviously there's a lot of debate going on about whether college is an investment that's worthwhile, but I do think that there are still a good number of kids who will go off to college, and I actually was looking. The U.S. News and World Report just came out with their rankings the other day, and the price tag on these private schools is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. They're horrifying numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so aside from getting a scholarship, which I'm going to have a chat with my 11-year-old about at some point, um, what suggestions do you have? I mean, some divorce agreements will spell out what you're responsible for. Some, kind of kick the can down the road, and that might be a conversation that needs to be had with your ex-partner about how those costs will be covered. But do you have any practical advice there?
It's definitely a daunting experience to take a look at what some of those price tags are, for sure. And I think first things first, to your point, is what's been spelled out. Has the can been kicked down the road, or is it pretty clearly defined within the divorce settlement? So understanding what's actually in your agreement. Step one, again, all goes back to, and I'm sorry to be redundant, knowing where you are.
No.
And then we've got to take a look at, okay, what are your thoughts about, because whether you're divorced, you've never been married and have kids, or you're married with kids, what are your thoughts about how much you'd want to ideally try and take on for tuition?
Yeah.
Or
Those
for
numbers
covering those
sound
costs?
so unobtainable. Like $90,000 a year. Like, whew.
It's crazy. And I think,
Yeah.
You've got to understand what your resources will afford you. I mean, yes, there is the chance that your child could, get
Star
a
athlete.
huge scholarship and all well and fine. And I would always encourage, parents to let your kids apply. Let them be the best that they can.
Yeah.
If that's really what they want. But then also be teaching them about, okay, what are the ramifications? This is what we can afford.
Right.
And I think establishing with all of us, whether you're divorced, whether you're married, whatever, I think establishing with our kids what the expectations are, right? Because I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, as a mom, you let their expectations run wild, and nobody wants to say no.
Right.
if you don't have to. But there is definitely an entitlement little syndrome out there, and the reality is sometimes it's totally doable, and sometimes it's just not within the realm of reality that maybe you can do
Right.
100%. That might be what your ideal is,
Right.
but maybe you could do 100% of an in-state university, public
Right.
university.
Right.
Maybe that's what the divorce decree says. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I
then
think
if
a
it's
lot of divorce.
Massachusetts, you're looking at a difference between, if it's like a UMass Amherst, you might be looking at a $25,000 type of a bill versus a 90,000, and
Right.
maybe the child decides or whatever, and you let them decide where they're going, and you've got an agreement that says, hey, I'm paying for half of public.
Yeah.
Communicate that to the kids.
Right.
I'm kind of in the camp of, if they're smart enough to go to college, they're smart enough to understand what they're taking on, what that means. And I think one of the things that we do with our clients, teenagers, if this is an issue, is to help them understand, look, here are the offers that you have on the board, and here's what mom and dad can do. Like, here's the scope of what is possible.
Right.
If you do this, this is what the ramification is. So if you go here,
That you do that.
you're covered. You're graduating and you're good. If you go here, here's what the school gave you for financial aid. Here's what the end number is. And this is what you're going to be responsible for. And then doing the math to show them, when you start out in the world, this is going to be a $400 a month payment to you.
Yes.
Is this degree in archaeology worth it, or creative dance, or whatever? Pick one. I'm not picking on any major, but kind of thinking and translating to, what am I spending? Is this worth it? But then once you understand where you are, what your resources are, it's like, okay, if I have whatever that I'm able to, out of my budget, out of my cash flow, put towards this objective, where is the best place to put it? And people talk about 5 times as a means of accumulation. They talk about custodial accounts. Sometimes it's in the best interest of the parents to, keep it in their own name. That depends on, again, it goes back to the individual, because there's no one right way of getting from A to B. It's, okay, here's how we could potentially approach something.
Yeah.
And here are the pros, here are the cons.
Yeah.
Based on your particular situation, here's why one might make the most, or a hybrid. Sometimes what a lot of clients will do is we'll do a hybrid. We'll fund some with a 529 plan, which is the plan where you put money in, it's after-tax dollars. It grows on a tax-deferred basis, meaning you don't pay taxes as it on the accumulating growth. Down the road, if you use it for a qualified higher education expense, it's tax-free when the money comes out.
Right.
But then the question always comes up: what if we don't use it?
Right. Yeah. What if the
money
kids
out? And oh my gosh, if I'm funding for almost $400,000 or $350,000, and that's a lot of money to be holding in this account. And then if the kid doesn't use it, what does that mean?
What's the plan?
So sometimes we do a combination. And again, it's all custom to whatever the client's situation is, and what their tax situation is, and what tools they have available to them. As far as funding goes, scholarships are important. There's a great website out there. It's FIN, and folks can go on it, check out, and it goes through how do you fill out a FAFSA form, the federal financial aid form. How does that work? But it also talks about different ways of covering college costs. It gives websites and resources for scholarships. It talks about, tapping into your local guidance departments and schools and different organizations that the parents might be members of, or grandparents, to tap into for scholarships. Because there's a lot of money out there that goes untapped.
And in our show notes, we'll link that. I'll get the link from you, because that sounds like an amazing resource for parents looking at colleges.
Yeah, and some of with the 529s, depending on what state, the state will give a little bit of a tax benefit. Not much in Massachusetts, very generous in other states. For example, you're living in Massachusetts, but you had a grandparent who's funding and they lived in, I don't know, Illinois has a pretty decent one. They could be, making contributions if rather than giving you the money and saying you fund it into your 529. The grandparent could be funding a 529, getting a tax break. And oh, by the way, when you do the FAFSA, assets in the grandparents' 529 for the benefit of your child aren't reported.
Oh, interesting.
So there's different ways and strategies
Right.
to help with this. So sometimes it's, what are the grandparents doing? Are they gifting
do
money
they live in
directly to
Illinois?
the kids? What is the best way to help from a gifting standpoint if that's part of someone's reality?
Right.
Giving some really terrific advice, honestly, and information that some people who don't know where to start will really be benefiting from it. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie. This was so awesome and some good practical advice that I think our listeners will be really grateful
Well,
for.
thank you
We
so
really
much for
appreciate
having
it.
me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Carrie,
And,
I found your Instagram page and followed it, so I know that Sullivan Christ has an Instagram page. Is there any place else we can find your firm?
you can find us on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find us on LinkedIn and sullivanchristfinancial.com.
Okay,
Is
and we'll
our
link
website. So
we'll link that in
We'll
the show
do
notes
all of
too.
your
Yep.
links on our show
Yeah.
notes so that easily people will be able to find you.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was so great talking with both of you.
Thank you.
And if you want to do Shock Carrie episode, I'm
I
all
know,
in.
I kind of want to do it.
I'm all in. Make it a Halloween
It
special.
will really just be all my financial decisions, though. I'm like, anonymously, though.
Yeah, I have a friend that did this.
It's always a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend, of course.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Carrie.
Nice seeing you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. She's awesome, right?
Oh my God. That was super helpful for me.
I know. I really do want to put questions to her, though. I think we really should do like a panel of questions or like things.
Yeah, I think that having some real life situations is always helpful for people.
Right.
So,
Or you know what, too? People could submit stories, too. That would be
mhm.
awesome. Like if you have a story that you can talk about either financial abuse or overcoming like, fear of all of this financial stuff in a divorce, that would be so empowering. So please share.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to be the only person ever feeling the way that
No.
you feel, even if you think you are. You're
Right.
not.
And that's what I love about the stories, and we're going to do another one in a minute, but
Yeah.
that the person writing it's so personal, but
Yeah.
so many people can relate. And even if they can't relate to the whole thing, they can relate to little pieces of it. And
Yeah.
it's so powerful. So please make sure you're sharing your stories
Yeah.
because we all have them, right?
Oh, amen. So many stories.
Good and bad.
Do you want to share our story for this week?
Yeah. So the story is addiction doesn't kill the addict. It kills the family, kids, and people who try to help. I knew something was wrong for a while, but I was in denial. It wasn't until my younger daughter was 2 months old that I knew I needed help and couldn't do it myself anymore. I started going to Al-Anon meetings with the suggestion of a close relative. It took me a handful of meetings to realize that my husband was an addict. The things started to make more sense. I started pushing back on his behavior and not accepting it like I had in the past. Too much of his resistance. Lying, manipulation, stealing, and many episodes of him being high or drunk became the theme. In September, I felt full responsibility as the healthy parent of 2 stepkids, 9 and 11, and my own children, 2 and 6 months. I discovered that he had taken a picture of my credit card, and that felt really uncomfortable. I contacted my lawyer. Shortly after, I found out that I was part of a company's layoff announcement after after a 12-year career at my company. I had just returned from maternity leave with my second child, and 8 days later was told I'm being laid off. Well, forget it. Divorce was now off the table, and we need to figure this out together. I finally convinced my husband to go into a couple of PHP programs to work through his trauma. Those were unsuccessful. They led to an inpatient program where he would stay overnight. Unfortunately, during this time, he told me, I will never stop doing drugs or drinking alcohol when I leave this place. That is when I needed to hear and made my decision very clear at the point to move forward with divorce and protect my children. This was after a threat against his life, removing guns from our home, and finding one unlocked and fully loaded next to his bed. Ooh, that gave me chills. Amongst many other concerns. I could not trust this person anymore, nor could I help him. They didn't want help, and I needed to move on. I asked them to not come back to our home. We tried to co-parent in the gray area before any court orders were in place. It was successful for a couple weeks. I kept the visit supervised because I was genuinely concerned about his mental state and where he was with drugs and alcohol use. Then, out of nowhere, he decided to keep my children overnight against my will. It would
Oh,
not return them to me. My youngest daughter was 7 months old. She was still nursing in the middle of the night. I was beside myself. However, I did not call the police or cause distress to my daughters. I just called my lawyer and asked for help with custody because I was concerned.
whew.
Filed an emergency order for temporary custody. With all the information provided, the judge granted me full custody until we went back to court. At that time, it was majority custody to me, 12 hours a week to him supervised, and he needed to take SoberLink before and after parenting time. This gave me some peace temporarily. He did fail his SoberLink, which was a bit shocking to me. Since it was court ordered, I assumed he'd follow it. It continued to show me that he is not capable and not well. It has now been almost 8 months since this process started. I was laid off, taking care of two babies majority of the time, healing and trying to figure out how to survive. I needed to solve for my personal situation, for flexibility and working from home to support my girls. My ex had a job and did not contribute financially for the first 6 months, while I continued to keep my daughters in daycare full time so they would not lose their spots. He did not help with food costs, formula, diapers, wipes, clothing, and more. I did it all with no job and with all the debt he left in my name. Now he's paying minimal child support, taking over his car payment and car insurance. I'm working to sell my home as maintenance for a large home is no longer a priority to me. Too many life decisions have happened in a short period of time. However, I have some of the best support I could ever have asked for, and why I feel that I'm okay in managing it well today. It's not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm working on starting over and creating a life for me and my children. There is hope. There is a great future ahead. And then left with a quote, the best way to predict your future is to create it. Oh, that's so true.
It is so true. Oh, the story is super heartbreaking.
It is. It is so
Um,
hard. Addiction is tough and just
it is
not
tough, and I
fair.
think the addict can be so consumed by their addiction, right? And I think there's room for compassion for people who suffer from addiction.
Of
But
course.
that being said, there's also a point where you do have to protect the
Yourself and
kids
your kids.
and yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, this person clearly knew what they needed to do and was so courageous.
Yeah,
I
talk about
mean,
I mean we talk about this often, but like
yeah,
talk about bravery. Two little kids dealing, oh my God. Like you have to be,
babies.
yeah, it is not easy.
I mean, it was not easy. My kids were a little older.
Mhm.
My youngest was older than the oldest in this story. I don't know. It's courage, lots of courage.
Courage and an incredible mother.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, these children someday will understand and appreciate what their mom did for them.
Absolutely.
Oh,
You know that.
wow.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
Thank you for sharing.
yeah,
I know there's others that have experienced this situation and, keep sharing.
Yes, there's healing and sharing and finding community. So
Absolutely.
please feel free to reach out to us. We're on Instagram. We have an email, which we'll link on our site, and we'd love to hear more from all of you.
Yeah.
All right. See you
Thank
soon. Thank
you.
you. Thanks for joining us for Co-Parenting and Coffee. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal advice on any subject matter. If you liked our podcast, feel free to drop us a review. We'd appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you next time for a cup of coffee and a chat with another expert on co-parenting.